Welcome to the Friday... One second. Nobody saw that. Welcome to the Thursday stream, Friday Eve. I hope everyone's having an awesome Friday Eve morning. Friday Eve morning. Yeah, there we go. That makes sense. Hey, Decapolion. Hey, Astro. Hey, Heat. Increasingly, Phil, how's it going? Howdy, everybody. Sorry, I had a little, cat issue. But that's okay. Today we have quite the gauntlet to run through. Oh, and I forgot to also go through this story here. Okay, so we have the story that we couldn't get to yesterday. And we have several others. Let me make sure we got everything going. Hey Bernardus, how's it going? We gotta do the Flint one. I'm very curious. Yeah, that looks like it's very messed up to me. Yeah, I understand you had like all of these massive problems, health issues, and things like that. Here's just a couple bucks. Nothing happened, it's all good. Alright, I think we got everything going. Like, how many people are getting how much? And also the children? Yeah, really. Like, unironically? Yeah, you're right. Alright. Hey. There we go. I had my health check this morning plus the flu jab all good now. That's good to hear. Nice. That's very good to hear. Things that we only dream of here in the US. I was considering MI for school. I was considering Michigan for school, and my coworkers were saying that the water issue is a political thing. Oh man. Oh no. It is definitely not. It is definitely not a political thing. It is a very real problem. All right, folks. We've got a few things to go through. So let me just play catch up. Yeah, I think that's Michigan. Yep, I think you're right. Now let's just play some catch up here. So there was a claim going around about famously finding, just out of nowhere, 12K ballots. And it seems to me like the right wing ran with this without allowing information to come through. And they were attempting to say, aha, see? We caught ya, you hypocrites. Yeah, Democratic hypocrites. We caught ya. You're doing the same thing that you were just complaining about. It turns out that's not really the case. A statement from the New Jersey Senate president following his election defeat has generated confusion online in recent days after it vaguely asserted that thousands of ballots have been found. Democrat Steve Sweeney did not concede the race to newcomer Ed Durr. Instead, he issued a statement Thursday saying he was waiting for all the votes to be counted and made reference to 12,000 ballots that had been, quote, recently found in one county. The statement was published by news outlets, and the notion that thousands of ballots were, quote, found was later amplified on social media and in headlines by conservative websites. Some social media posts implied that the ballots could affect the outcome of Sweeney's race, or that Democrats are trying to steal the legislative seat. In reality, the ballots in question were not in Sweeney's district, and they were not unexpectedly discovered. Yeah, so it turns out it just looks like someone's PR, social media manager, whatever, made a tweet or comment that could have been misinterpreted, and of course, the right wing took advantage of this immediately. This is how you muddy the waters of fact and fiction. Do they have a playbook on this or something? Yeah, actually, they do. If you guys read the famous book Manufacturing Consent, that's their playbook right there. But unironically, this is probably just irresponsibility. When I tend to err on the whenever something like this happens, I tend to err on the side of just incompetence and irresponsibility until I can find something else. The facts: there's no evidence to suggest that 12,000 ballots were unexpectedly or unaccounted for, as some have suggested. Sweeney's statement was sent to media outlets on Thursday, the same day the Associated Press called the race for Durr. The results from Tuesday's election continue to come in. For instance, there was 12,000 ballots recently found in one county. While I'm currently trailing in the race, we want to make sure every vote is counted. Our voters deserve that, and we wait for the final results. Yeah, like, the way this was done, the way this was stated and worded was absolutely irresponsible. Oh man, why? Why would you word it this way? Why would you word it that way? I think a better way that they could have handled this is by saying the results from Tuesday's election continue to come in. For instance, there was 12,000 ballots counted in one county. For instance, there was 12,000 ballots recently counted in one county. While I'm currently trailing in the race, we want to make sure every vote is counted. Our voters deserve that, and we will wait for the final results. That's it. That's it. He didn't even say 12,000 ballots for who, right? Which led to open interpretation. Of course. Which leads to interpretation, right? Because then folks will take that and say, aha, see? They're trying to rig the election or something like that. Like, we don't even know if these 12,000 ballots are for Dems or Republicans. For all we know, like, the majority of these ballots could be like Republican ballots. I'm not sure it wasn't intentional. Maybe you're right, actually. I have no idea, to be honest. These are all that's speculation on my part. I usually try to err on the side of incompetence, but yeah. Right, what else are you supposed to conclude? Some foul play. Right, but the thing is, like, when you word things like that, like, exactly as you said, like, people reach these conclusions because it's so open. It's left to interpretation. You know, oh, look, they found 12,000 ballots, instead of just saying 12,000 ballots recently counted in one county. That's it. That's it. Because you don't know. How are you supposed to know? He's like, it's the just asking questions meme, right? In the days following, posts on social media and conservative websites homed in on that vague detail. Of course, some implying that the votes related to Sweeney's race and claiming questions if found ballots would affect the results continued to circulate. Quote, eyes on Jersey, they're trying to steal. Oh man, this is so bad. I just despise this. This is so toxic. Where are you, GOP? Thousands of ballots magically found? No, they were just counted. That's it. But Richard McGrath, a spokesperson for Sweeney, told the AP that the statement referred to ballots in Camden County, which is not included in the state's 3rd legislative district, which Sweeney represents. Right, so like, then why even comment? Jesus Christ. And those ballots were mail-in ballots that were not a surprise discovery. They were just counted. That's it. Camden County spokesman Dan Kioshin said that on election night, officials from the county picked up mail-in ballots from 29 drop boxes located across the county. Those collected ballots numbered about 12,000. Kioshin said they were delivered to a warehouse late that night and they were counted the next day. That's it. Right? As for further comment on his statement, Sweeney's office referred to AP comments Sweeney provided to NJ.com on Monday, which said he did not mean to imply the votes were lost. Right, but like, it doesn't matter. You have to be very clear, especially when you know that, especially when you know when Republicans are crying, crying about rigged elections and stolen elections at every point, at every turn that they can. You, as the Democratic runner, candidate, you have to be careful with your words. You really do. Like, oh my god, this is so irresponsible by the, like, just the framing of how you speak to the media like this. It's done to make the GOP look like fools. No, this is a Democratic candidate who made that mistake. What a mess, exactly. What a mess, because, like, again, they take this vague detail and they run with it because they can, instead of being very precise and say, hey, look, 12,000 ballots were counted as they came in through the mail-in ballots, and specifically in X county. Or, and hear me out, just don't say anything if you're not going to be precise with your words, or if it's not related to your race, like in this case, I don't think it was related to even his district, then don't say anything. Don't let the GOP have ammunition to continue to perpetuate these dangerous narratives about stolen elections, rigged elections. Stop giving them ammunition, okay? There was no shenanigans here. All that happened is that they counted 12,000 votes that came in through mail-in ballots. That's it. They just counted 12,000 votes, okay? They didn't mysteriously appear. And furthermore, there's no way to say that it was just all Democratic ballots or all Republican ballots. That's it. Or just keep it simple. Just say that there are still votes to be counted and we'll wait for the final results, and that's it. Jesus Christ. This isn't like a hard like, do they need like a special like PR person? Like, I'll do it. I'll speak to the media for them if they need to. Jesus Christ. I just clicked the Yahoo News and it took me to a Fox News article. Yeah, the thing is, like, sometimes what Yahoo News is, they'll take it from, they'll just repost. They'll just copy pasta. But they'll put the original source up here. So small lesson for media scrutiny, media analysis. If you look at Yahoo News, sometimes they'll be their own, but sometimes you gotta look over here. And I believe there is going to be a reference to the original article somewhere down the aha. I think there's a reference to the original article somewhere. Maybe I can't find it, but it will tell you. It's very small, but it will tell you right here on the top left. See that? Yeah, above the little picture. Above the little fact focus. See that tiny little AP up there? Yeah, it'll tell you. It'll tell you. Ghostly Dragon Booty, thank you for the follow, appreciate that. That being said, just a quick shout out. Oops, sorry. Just a quick shout out here. Bark Eater Jeff, thank you for the offline follow. mycelium_I, thank you for the offline follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, links at the bottom too. So yeah, they usually, if you look for it, it's usually there. So again, it's just to encourage you folks that it's just to encourage folks to really read, to really make sure that you know where it's coming from. Howdy, howdy. I didn't say they were found. Sweeney said erroneously. I said 12,000 votes came in to Camden County. My point is votes are coming in. I don't know how many are coming in, and I won't know until today. But votes are coming in every day. There could be a large number of votes. There could be no votes. The point is just let us count the votes. I've earned that. Okay, but buddy, that's not really what the original statement said, okay? If you just wanted to say, hey, there are still a lot of votes to be counted, everybody chill, then that's all you had to say. That's it. That's it, especially if votes are coming in into counties that do not pertain to you. Leave it alone. Just stop it. I feel like I've seen that name, Bark Eater, before. I'm Lifted Dragon. Yeah, I see. There's sometimes members of the Dragon Squad stop by here. I appreciate that. Buff Dragon, Silver Knight Dragon, all kinds of dragons. As of Tuesday, 1 week after Election Day, Sweeney still has not conceded defeat in the race. Yeah, if you lost, just take the L, bro. Take the L, and that's it, okay? It's not something I like to hear. Okay, but if you lost, you lost. John Hayadola is a gem, true. Anyways, I just wanted to address that because I saw a lot of headlines saying that whole, well, not headlines, I should say. There was a lot of narratives being spun around by saying like, oh look, it's the Dems who are actually hypocrites because they're the ones complaining about lost ballots and stuff like that. No, it's just bad PR, irresponsible framing of words. Okay, everybody chill. But am I a ghostly dragon, or am I a ghostly dragon's booty, or am I a booty of a ghostly, or am I a booty of ghostly dragons? I have no idea. All of the above, I'm going to say. I'm just going to say all of the above. How about that? Fun fact, ADT is a gem. Thank you, I appreciate that. Oh no. God dang it, spread it forward. Boo this man. Chat, boo this man.
Please clap.
Hey, I'm off work today. Hey, Chai Bureaucrat. Well, that's a good news. That's very good news. I'll be off work on Monday. So it's kind of a long weekend. Long weekend. But I must, like, thank a vet or something. Then go to left flank vets. Here. Oh, it's today. Oh, you're right. Today's Veterans Day. Here we go. Here we go. Purple fart. Oh no. So go, yeah, you want to, thank a veteran or go celebrate, Veterans Day? Go show some support to left flank vets. I think they deserve it. I see you've been collecting some interesting emotes. Dan Simpson is pretty chill. He makes the, tough news and tough conversations relaxing. There's no time that I've been in Dan Simpson's channel and have not had a chill vibe. You know, just hanging out there in the background, whether it be lurking or whether it be just at work. You can usually expect good, chill vibes with Dan Simpson. Good to know. I'll avoid people today as usual. Well, avoiding people in general is a good default. That's right, misinformation. Hillary Clinton deleted thousands of ballots and she had private ballot servers. That's right. Got him. Yeah, so for Veterans Day, please, if you do anything for Veterans Day, stop by Left Flank Vets and show some support. Also won 16-inch softball championship tournament. Oh, nice. But my body's literally broken and needed the day. Nice. Well, at least you get some rest. Nice. Alright, we turn our attention to... It was an effing banger to the final game. Nice. Alright. We turn our attention back to Flint, Michigan, and as you folks may know, there was already a massive problem for quite a while with the lead pipes, a lot of health issues and stuff like that that took a massive amount of time to fix. And I'm still not sure if everything is 100% fixed, but I know that some work has begun or some work has been completed. People exposed to lead in Flint, Michigan will get a $626 million settlement. A judge on Wednesday approved the $626 million settlement for Flint residents and others who were exposed to lead-contaminated water. Most of the money, $600 million, is coming from the state of Michigan, which was accused of repeatedly overlooking the devastating risk of switching Flint's water source in 2014 without treating the water to prevent contamination. And can anybody tell me who got the good end of that deal? Can anybody tell me who got the good end of that deal? Hey Alio, how's it going? It surely wasn't the masses that were poisoned, true. It was the car manufacturers, because they couldn't have the bad contaminated water. They needed the fresh good water so that their parts for the car manufacturing wouldn't get rusted. Yeah. Yes, about Flint, Michigan water. I vividly remember watching C-SPAN when the Michigan senator was on the Senate floor begging for help, and then Rand Paul immediately came out and changed the subject to his campaign, of course. Yeah, I would not be surprised. The settlement reached here is a remarkable achievement for many reasons, not the least of which is what sets forth a comprehensive compensation program and timeline that is consistent for every qualifying participant. U.S. District Judge Judith Levy said the settlement was announced in August 2020 by Attorney General Dana Nessel and Governor Gretchen Whitmer, both Dems who were elected in 2018 while the litigation was pending. Flint managers appointed then Governor Rick Snyder Flint managers appointed then by Governor Rick Snyder and regulators in his administration allowed the city to use the Flint River in 2014 to 2015 without treating the water to reduce corrosion. As a result, lead in old pipes broke off and flowed through the taps. The deal that makes money available to every Flint child who is exposed to the water, every adult who can show an injury, certain business owners, and anyone who paid water bills. Flint switched back to a Detroit Regional Water Agency in the fall of 2015 after Dr. Manahana Atisha publicly reported elevated lead levels in children. Attorneys have been seeking as much as $200 million in legal fees from the $626 million settlement. I suspect we're going to find out more as to who is going to be eligible, or what the final payout is going to be. To who, I should say. And how much, because it doesn't seem like a lot on its face. It doesn't seem like a lot on its face. It doesn't seem like a lot. And like I said, of course, the car manufacturers couldn't be bothered with the untreated, potentially dangerous water. Those are for the plebs. The good water, the clean, necessary water, is for the car manufacturers, who complained that the untreated water would corrode their parts. I'm curious as to how much of the same work is needed across the rest of Michigan, not even considering how much would need to potentially be done across the nation. A lot. Ghostly Dragon, a lot. I believe somebody else was talking about, I want to say another part of Michigan, but I also want to say they may have been talking about another state as well, where they're also having this problem. So yeah, you're right. There's definitely a lot of work. So to a small W, and I mean this in a the smallest of smallest W's, to get from the Biden infrastructure plan, is that they are going to attempt to work on this issue. Is that they are going to attempt to address this issue. So there's that. Chicago does too. Yikes. There are many cities and towns that have atrocious lead poisoning in their water infrastructure. Yeah. I remember somebody in chat was telling me about this as well, Chai. Yikes. I also remember Nestle stealing water and capitalizing on the crisis. Yeah, not surprised. Not just water, but dirt and playgrounds. Yikes. Yikes. But yeah, like, I suspect that this to me doesn't seem like a lot. This to me seems like, especially depending on how they distribute it, and especially if attorneys who won, who negotiated the settlement are asking for like a third of it already. Jesus Christ. It seems to me like peanuts. Hey, Tiddle D, how's it going? Tiddly D? Tiddly D. Yeah, you gotta count the small victories. Yeah, that's kind of how you have to deal with it. If you want to have a backyard garden in a city, you definitely don't want to use the existing soil. Gotta build a raised bed and cap them from the existing ground. Yikes. Well, to be fair, that is a good assessment and a good practice because, yeah, especially if you're growing food, especially if you're growing food. So have they replaced the pipes? I don't know. I mean, I grow my garden, my raised beds, on top of the soil that we have here in South Florida. Our soil isn't really good, to say the least. Our soil is very sandy, thin. How do I say that? It's very, like, sandy, I guess. I'm not the greatest fan of leftists, but I'm good people. Alright. Oh, I'm like South Florida, like way down south. Definitely more south than, let's put it this way, definitely more south than, let's see. Sure, we'll just say that, Tiddly D. We'll just say that. We'll just say that. You mean the soil is fine? Thank you, spread it forward. There we go, that's the word I'm looking for. Fine. The soil is fine. Get out while you still can, dude? Well, I can't, that's the thing, though. Invert X, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. Yeah, I always change the city I'm in. If you guys haven't noticed, I've been moving around. I always say different cities. But yeah, somewhere around there. I took on 180 liberals. Chat, 180. 180, folks. And it's 9:51 in the morning. That's amazing. That's amazing. Alright, folks. So to bring it down to the TLDR, it looks like there's going to be a settlement of 626 million, and a third of that off the top is going to go to attorneys, and who knows how the final distribution is going to end up, but this seems like peanuts to me, and I suspect we'll know more later on. The battle for Pennsylvania. Senate seat could decide who. The battle for Pennsylvania's Senate seat could decide who controls Congress next year, and by Congress they mean the Senate. A battle between Democratic progressives and moderates, accusations of domestic violence against a candidate endorsed by Trump, and the potential entry of a television doctor are all factors in the Pennsylvania's wide-open 2020 Senate contest. If you're in Pennsylvania, then please pay attention. Please pay attention. The Republican side of the race opened up in October when incumbent Senator Pat Toomey announced he would be retiring and not seeking a third term. Dems had substantial victories in the gubernatorial and Senate races in the 2018 midterms, but Toomey's re-election in 2016 and the last two presidential results in the Keystone State were all tight races within 2 points. Joe Biden won in Pennsylvania in 2020, but in 2016, Trump became the first Republican to carry the state since the Reagan era. Next year's Senate race is expected to be a marquee midterm contest, with both the Cook Political Report and University of Virginia Center for Politics rating it as a toss-up. But given Senate's current split 50-50 between parties and a map that could favor Dems, it's possible that Pennsylvania could decide who controls the Senate. So pay attention, folks. Especially pay attention to this gentleman over here. The race is very early frontrunner in fundraising, and name recognition is Democratic Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. The former mayor of Braddock, a small steel town outside of Pittsburgh, Fetterman ran for the Senate in 2016 as a progressive candidate in the race, finishing third in the Democratic primary. He also stands out physically. Oh, come on. This doesn't matter. bald, goatee, dressed down, and towering over Democratic Governor Tom Wolf in their appearances together. Fetterman's profile has risen since then, and he was an outspoken critic of election conspiracies promulgated by Trump and his supporters last fall, becoming a cable news regular in the process. When the Republican Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick, issued a reward for proof of voter fraud, Fetterman pointed to a Pennsylvania man who voted for Trump via his dead mother's absentee ballot. Fetterman asked for the reward gift, and geez, this is so much fluff, I don't care. That was a funny story, but I don't care. Fetterman has touted his progressive bona fides through the campaign, vocally supporting marijuana legalization, nice. Directing his supporters to donate to union strike funds, nice. Criticizing centrist Senate Dems who are unwilling to abolish the filibuster in an effort to pass more of the party's agenda. Since entering the race in February, he's raised more than $9 million. A candidate who could emerge as Fetterman's top competitor, Representative Conor Lamb, has positioned himself to the lieutenant governor's right. Lamb, a Marine and former prosecutor, first gained prominence in the Democratic circles by winning the March 2018 special election in Pittsburgh area House seat. Yeah, representative. In a series of tweets on Sunday, Lamb did not directly name Fetterman, but implied he was too radical. Wait, so directing people to donate to union strike funds, supporting marijuana legalization is a radical idea? I'm sorry, what age are we in? What age are we in? Okay, so apparently words are hard. And yeah, words are hard, chat. Listen, there are different definitions for different political ideologies and different systems, whether it be politics, economics, things like that. All of these words have different meanings. A liberal has a specific meaning. A socialist has a specific meaning. A communist has a specific meaning. A capitalist has a specific meaning. I don't get it. I understand words are hard, but the labels are always abused. That's a good point. That's a good point. The age of fake news and sleaze, true. Alright, so real quick, because like healthcare is something that like really healthcare is one of the things that like unironically giga triggers me. Healthcare unironically is one of the things that like giga triggers me. Listen, hey, buddy, everybody who is a human being, believe it or not, needs healthcare. It is not a privilege to have access to a good to good health. It is not a privilege to have access to healthcare. That is an asinine way of thinking. Okay? That is an asinine way of thinking. Okay? That is an asinine way of thinking. So I also assume this person is coming here. I also assume that that this person thinks that people deserve, or I assume that this person also accepts the reality that we all deserve life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And what do you think like a universal healthcare system would do? This is an asinine take. They said they deserve healthcare because they serve the country, well, they deserve healthcare because they're a human being. Right. They right, this person is unironically arguing against the same thing that they have. I think the family should provide the welfare of their own family. Okay, but buddy, that's not always possible, especially depending on your socioeconomic status. Like, so then you would be arguing for the age of lies, racism, personal greed, and corruption. Yeah, something like that. Poor people without families die. Yeah, exactly. That's his argument. So basically, you would be okay with people not getting healthcare because they can't afford it. You're okay with people getting unnecessary health conditions progress, making it more expensive down the line because they can't afford it. And if they can't afford the final treatment, then here, I'll show you. How about this? Let me try to explain. There's nothing to explain here. No, you're not making it clear because it doesn't make sense. Okay? You're never going to be able to make it clear because there's never going to be a world where you can make the argument that a privatized system is better than a universal healthcare system. There's just no way. There's absolutely no argument that you could potentially put out here that will make a privatized healthcare system better than a universal. Yeah, I'm because there's nothing to argue here. Okay? There's nothing to argue here. What possible argument could you have for a privatized healthcare system that would be be more effective than a universal healthcare system? Because there's no economic argument. There's definitely no economic argument. Please, indulge me. You get one shot at this. You get one shot at this. Wrong. That's not an argument. That's answering with a question. Can we try again? And who's everyone? Do you mean incredibly rich people who come here because they have the incredible amount of wealth? And out of those people, how much percentage? Is there like a massive migration to the United States for healthcare? Because I can point to greater numbers of folks going to Canada or Mexico for healthcare because they can't afford it here. You're just literally answering with a question, so that's not really an argument. Next. That you didn't though, so next. Boo. Boo this man. Nah, they're just arguing in some type of fantastical world, in their heads. They're literally arguing in a fantastical world in their heads. I gave them one chance. Actually, I would argue I gave them multiple chances because this is not the first time this person has been here. No, they actually don't have any statistic. They just have vague talking points, meant to stun lock the stream. But I indulged it just for a second because I know that deep down there is no argument. I said it at the beginning. There's literally no argument that you can present to me that will make me there's no argument that you could present me that will show a privatized system to be superior to a universal healthcare system. Period. Full stop. End of story. There is no argument that anybody could present to me that will make me think that a universal healthcare system will be worse than a privatized system. Those arguments are usually here to waste people's time and energy and stunlock the credulous. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the science is settled. Literally. Unironically, there's just no argument for it. What's the argument? There's no economic argument because it's a universal healthcare system, particularly a single payer system, is cheaper. Period. Full stop. There's been plenty of studies to indicate that the actual medical care, medical care overall between the two systems are generally the same. So why would you pay more than double for the same outcomes? And third of all, it is incredibly inefficient to have a privatized healthcare system, to always have to be arguing between a middle person and your healthcare. The middleman being the insurance companies, who are incredibly inefficient because, well, they're not there to deliver healthcare. They're there to deliver profits, which is really the core of the wealthcare system that we have in this country. That's it. That's literally it. So cut the middleman, make things cheaper, and make things cheaper in the long run, especially with preventative care and all this other stuff. Anyways, the point is, privatized healthcare is garbage. Period. Full stop. I even get free screening for common medical issues for free. Thank you, Astro. Thank you, Astro London. Thank you. Thank you. Like, it's just so, like, ridiculous because, like, at the end of the day, you need healthcare. There's no ways around it, okay? This isn't like a TV that you can just, like, purchase. And say, well, whatever, I have a lot of choices for TVs and whatever. Okay. Healthcare is not an option. The GDP is the most important stat to conservatives. Then the military not producing any profits is at the end of the day a drain in our tax dollars. True. 60 plus get here all medications for free. Nice. Even TVs have warranties. Yeah. But they're not like that's true. But my point is, like, healthcare isn't a commodity where you can have a successful, like, push and pull with markets. It's just not a commodity. Period. Full stop. You can't. It's just incompatible with the free market. Just on its face, it's just incompatible. There's so many failures. There's so many market failures when it comes to privatizing healthcare. One of them being, it's not an option. It's inelastic. Inelastic demand is a huge problem. They can charge you whatever they want because, well, what are you going to do? Not pay for it? That's not an option. The other option is just die. How much do you value your life? Exactly. Your money or your life? Anyways, the person who doesn't understand not only do they not understand economics, but they don't understand how like things work when it comes to healthcare. But hey, they get to benefit from a universal healthcare system, and F everybody else. Nice. A doctor gives blood tests and X-rays, CT scans, all free. Yeah, of course, because it's already understood by the majority of the planet, who has the majority of the world, that it turns out like preventative care and things like that make healthcare in the end, in the long run, cheaper. All these preventative blood tests, scans, everything that can like locate and treat things that could have been a problem down the line are all free. All of these preventative care measures, all of these things like are super, super crucial, especially in universal healthcare systems, to keep costs down. Because it turns out, if you give people access to like preventative care, all of that comes back. All of that comes back to you because you don't have to spend that much money dealing with like more severe issues down the line. Anyways, I don't have to explain that. I'm pretty sure everybody here understands what I'm trying to get at. Right, private healthcare makes our corporate masters richer, so it seems fine to me. Right. Thank you for the follow, J Torn. Yeah, exactly. Wow, nice, Astro. Healthcare for mothers to be, and ultrasounds, delivery, antenatal, ASREs are all free. Nice. Remember, the party that claims to care about the family doesn't want you to get free healthcare for your children. My plan is to not get screened so that I'm never diagnosed with anything. I'll live forever. Life hack, folks. Life hack. Anyways, that was a great segue there. I learned that one from God Emperor Trump, true. Is there no one else? Is there no one else? Excellent. Are you not entertained? Anyways, folks, Pennsylvania. Focus, chat. Focus. Pennsylvania, very important. A candidate who could emerge as Fetterman's top competitor, Representative Conor Lamb, was positioned himself to be lieutenant governor's right. To the lieutenant governor's right. Lamb, a Marine and former prosecutor, has gained prominence in Democratic circles by winning a March 2018 special election to a Pittsburgh area U.S. House seat. In a series of tweets on Sunday, Lamb did not directly name Fetterman, but implied that he was too radical to win a general election. If you want a senator who runs as a socialist, feeds the GOP attack ads, and didn't help with infrastructure, I'm not your guy. That's not how you beat Republicans. I know, because I've actually done and will again. I'm a normal Democrat who supports jobs and wins elections. With folks like these, who need Republicans? Hey, Opossum Shaman. What happened? We had a classic troll come into the channel thinking that they had like super special awesome debate skills on universal healthcare. Turns out they didn't. Which one is pro legalization? Fetterman. As somebody who lives very close to Pittsburgh, I know people are ready for recreational weed. Yeah, he might just win on that. Yeah, I mean, if you guys know, if you guys are, in PA, pay attention because this is a very important race. The guy that's apparently on the more, I don't know, like just he's a little bit more progressive than the usual. Things like supporting marijuana legislation. He's also been involved in directing supporters to donate to union strike funds, things like that. The guy's name is John Fetterman. Hey, Callow, how's it going? Learned that one from God Emperor Trump. True. Yeah. So this guy, the more conservative Dem, is trying to say that someone running as a progressive who is trying to legalize weed, recreational marijuana, supports labor, apparently is a socialist, which I don't think so. I don't know. I really doubt that this guy is like socialist. I don't know what feed the GOP attack ads mean, because by definition, the GOP attack ads will be there whether it's you or whether it's another Dem. So that's not really an argument. And didn't help with infrastructure? I'm not sure what that means. The way you beat Republicans, or I should say, the way you win elections, is by giving people something to vote for. For example, legalization and decriminalization of marijuana and all drugs in an attempt to take a good swing at the drug war is something people would vote for. PA medical cannabis was a great success and I can smell it on the streets. Nice. PA state-run alcohol may be a good model for their pot shops too. It brings in a lot of money for the state. Yeah, I actually, I'm pretty ignorant on how that model works, but the idea that you can make new economic opportunities and provide a avenue for revenue, which could go back into the community in the form of education, rehab, and things like that. Just putting the money, the revenue from these new businesses that will come up, to put it back into the community can also be a great opportunity as well. Absolute clown over here. Absolute clown. 2 Philadelphia area Democrats are among the other contending in the race. Valerie Arkush, a physician and chairperson of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners, would become the first woman elected to the U.S. Senate from Pennsylvania. Malcolm Kenyatta, 31-year-old state legislator representing Philadelphia, would become the state's first black and openly gay senator. According to the most recent filings, Lamb and Arkush have both raised more than $2 million, while Kenyatta has brought in $1.2 million. Both Lamb and Kenyatta were featured as rising star keynote speakers at last year's Democratic National Convention. The Republican race to replace Toomey is just as muddled at this point. Among the contenders is Jeff Bartos, a Philadelphia area real estate investor who has served as the party's finance chair and unsuccessfully ran for lieutenant governor against Fetterman in 2018 after considering a Senate bid. That's interesting. This more conservative Dem just said that is not how you beat Republicans, except he did. Except he did. Except he did. Again, the way you win elections is by giving people something to vote for, okay? That's it. That's the big brain strategy, folks. Hire me for the Democratic strategist. Democratic national strategist over here. That's literally it. Give people something to vote for, okay? you know, kind of like how the Democratic Party's platform in 2020 had to do with raising the minimum wage. Didn't happen. Expanding social safety nets, to be determined. Maybe. Doubt it. Thanks, Joe Manchin. They also ran on a robust acceptance. They ran on the acceptance of climate change, and they ran on the idea that they would actually put forth legislation to deal with it. Didn't happen. Isn't happening. What else did they run on? They also ran on more safety nets when it comes to dealing with the economic crisis, thanks to the pandemic. That materialized, but not as robust as it could have been. But okay, whatever. They get like a C minus on that one. They get a C minus on that one. But yeah, the point being is that they won not because they were trying to beat Republicans or whatever, which of course, you know, I guess that's always the end game, but that's a byproduct, right? Beating the GOP should always be secondary, right? Like, is that like, I don't know. People think that might, like, I have a feeling that these folks have that as a counterintuitive thought process, but beating the GOP is secondary. They should be focusing on giving people something to vote for. Johnny Harris's liberal hypocrisy footage, they don't give a shit. Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps at the end of the day, it might just be as simple as that. That being said, there have been some things that they've done here that is objectively good. Certainly better than a Republican, certainly better than a Trump re-election, certainly better than a Trump-controlled Senate, or Republican-controlled Senate. Same difference, to be honest. The GOP is the party of Trump. But, still, you've got to deliver. Beating the GOP is secondary. You've got to deliver. I'm sorry. Like, the reason why, like, and I get what the other chatter was saying the other day is that, I think Zenshine99, Zenshine, something to that effect. I forget their username, and I apologize. To try to be a little bit more positive, but like the reason why I'm so adamant, so I guess you could say harsh, but not really. I could be a lot harder. It's because I care. It's because I care. It's because I understand the ramifications of losing. I understand the consequences of losing. I understand what the consequences will be. You saw that piece he did for the New York Times? No, I didn't. If you have that, send it to me in whispers. This might be relevant. Could be. One could say that could be a lot harder. But yes. Yeah. Y'all get my point. To be fair, I've been on like a 3-week malding spree. No, more than 3 weeks at this point. I've been on like at least over a month malding spree. And it's not stopping. It's not stopping because we've got another article coming up We've got another article coming up that's, anyways, let's finish this one. The Republican race to replace Toomey is just as muddled. Among the contenders is Jeff Bartos, a Philadelphia real estate investor who served as the state party's finance chair and unsuccessfully ran for lieutenant governor against Fetterman in 2018 after considering a Senate bid. Right, so again, this guy's argument that, oh, I can beat Republicans and a more progressive platform can't, is absolutely not true, as he successfully beat a Republican. Just what an asinine take. Then there's Carlos Sands, who served as Trump's ambassador to Denmark and was one of his key fundraisers in California before recently relocating back to Pennsylvania. The CEO of a real estate investment firm founded by her late husband. Sands has the ability to self-finance her run, already investing $3 million of her own money. Wow, must be nice. Must be nice. Wait, who wrote this article? Hold on. Oh, just Yahoo News. Okay. But neither Bartos nor Sands has earned endorsement of Trump, who has instead thrown his support behind Pittsburgh native Sean Parnell, calling him a great candidate who will make Pennsylvania very proud. A former U.S. Army Ranger who lost a tight House race to Lamb in 2020, Parnell has become a favorite in conservative media circles, but his campaign has been rocked by accusations from his estranged wife that he strangled her and abused her children. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's this guy. I remember now. I remember now. Oh, we'll talk about this. Shout out to More Perfect Union, not to be confused with the unbelievably cringy Twitch streamer. Not to be confused with... Oh man, that's so effed. Hold on, can we take a second here? If anybody's seen More Perfect Union, please don't confuse them with the actual organization that's trying to advance labor. Please.
For a very long time, and it has to do with this. There's a question I've had for a very long time, and it has to do with this map. This is a map of the 18 states in the US where Democrats control the legislative and executive branches, or else have some veto-proof majority in the legislature. Democrats in DC often blame the GOP for foiling their progressive vision.
When middle-class families see their taxes go up, they'll know Republicans are to blame.
But if you zoom into these 18 states, there's effectively no Republicans standing in the way. So my question is, what do Democrats actually do when they have all the power? To answer this question, I teamed up with the Times editorial board writer Binya Applebaum.
Okay, you got my attention.
He's been thinking about and writing books about and reporting on this topic for decades.
I think, Americans tend to view politics as a competition of us versus them, and they tend to think that if they would just get out of the way, then we can do the things that we want to do. There is no them standing in the way. There's just the we of Democrats and their supporters, and they get to decide what policy should look like in those states, and that is an opportunity for them to implement their vision.
For this story, I also delved into this giant document.
I haven't seen them. Oh, if you're talking about More Perfect Union, it's okay, Cal. It's okay. On Twitch, they're like a very unbased, conservative, trying to be nice. Very aggravating individual on Twitch. Would leftists win? What are the politics like on the ground? What you're referring to? What are you referring to, Kyle?
It is the 2020 Democratic Party platform. If you want to really understand what Democrats say they want, what their vision is for America, it's found inside of this document. This document serves as a guide. As we zoom into these states to answer this question, what do Democrats really do when they have all the power?
Nearly 554,000 homeless people from the 25 wealthiest Americans shows they're paying little in income taxes compared to their fortunes, sometimes nothing at all. We cannot
in good faith, blame the Republican Party when House Democrats have a majority.
There's still very intense segregation happening in all kinds of forms all over this country.
Jesus.
Okay, so let's start with California. To me, California is like the quintessential liberal state. From the state legislature to the whole executive branch to most of the big cities, Dems hold majority control. So what do they do with all this power?
Looking at California, you have to look at housing.
Okay, now wait, listen. When I hear the words housing policy, I tend to sort of doze off, but Binya insists that housing policy and what is happening in
You said it, not me, Kyle. They could stay in power all the time if they did something. Well, yeah, that's here in the argument, I believe. I think that's the final, I think that's where this is leading to. Dems need way more reach in rural areas, true. True, but like, that is an aspect that we should work on. Let me rephrase that. That is an aspect the Democratic Party needs to work on.
California is definitely worth looking at.
You cannot say that you are against inequality in America unless you are willing to have affordable housing built in your neighborhood.
And Democrats completely agree. Here in this document, the word housing is mentioned over 100 times.
The neighborhood where you're born has a huge influence on the rest of your life.
True.
Children who are born in neighborhoods with degraded environmental conditions, with a lack of access to high-quality public services, poor schools, poor public transit,
True.
are at a permanent disadvantage.
And they even say verbatim, housing in America should be stable, accessible, safe, healthy, energy efficient, and above all, affordable.
Housing is a human right.
Housing is a human right.
The rent is going through the roof. Housing is a human right.
How does California do when it comes to housing?
You know where those signs are when you drive into a state? It says, "Welcome to California." They might as well replace them with signs that say, "Keep out." Because in California, the cost of housing is so high that for many people, it's simply unaffordable. The state has simply, for the most part, stopped building housing. I mean, there are
There was a
there's housing
farmer
going up,
labor
but
party.
it has slowed down over time.
Yeah, didn't the Dems kind of like absorbed it? Because like I often see the official name on ballots. If you guys look at like official names on ballots, they'll say things like Democratic Farmer Labor Party. If you really pay attention to the ballot, it doesn't say just Democratic Party. I was always confused by that, but now, as Kyle just pointed out, they got absorbed and destroyed by the Dems. Interesting. Yeah, affordable doesn't make it a right.
Really, really sharply, and it is nowhere near sufficient to keep pace with California's population. And so what you have is not enough housing and too many people trying to get it, and the inevitable result is that prices have gone up and away.
The median price of a home in San Diego County is now a staggering $830,000.
All around California, there are cities full of people who say that they are progressive, they're liberals. They believe in a more equal America, a more diverse
Those are two
America.
different words.
They show up to the marches, they put in the lawn signs about everyone being equal, but at the same time, they're actively fighting to keep their neighborhoods looking like this. Okay, wait, but that doesn't look so bad. It's just a bunch of houses in a neighborhood, right? No, it turns out that this is actually the result of specific policies, intentional policies that keeps these neighborhoods spread out and full of single-family homes, as opposed to higher density buildings like duplexes or apartment complexes. This is a real, serious fight, and you can get a glimpse into it by looking at a zoning map. Yes, we're looking at a municipal zoning map of Palo Alto, California. Don't leave yet, this is really where it sinks in, so just stick around. So everything on this map that is yellow is zoned for single-family homes, like this and this. One family can live here. But here in Palo Alto, there are a lot of new jobs. This is a desirable place to live for new opportunities. Over the past 8 years, the San Francisco area has added 676,000 jobs, but only 176,000 housing units. So a few years ago, the city council voted to change the zoning of one section of the city right here. Specifically this 2-acre plot of land. They wanted to change it from low density housing to higher density housing so that they could build a 60-unit affordable housing complex for elderly members of the community. Okay, so they changed the zoning. Start building the 60-unit complex. No, the overwhelmingly liberal residents of Palo Alto decided to hold a vote to overturn the decision, to revert it back to low density single-family housing, back to yellow. And it passed, and the zoning was overturned. So now when you go to this plot of land,
video,
instead
puts a
of
lot
an
of info
affordable
front
housing
and center,
complex for
but
the
yeah.
elderly, what you're gonna see is this. A row of just a few houses, all of them massive and worth around $5 million each.
I think people aren't living their values. You go to these meetings in these neighborhoods where they're talking about a new housing project, and it's always the same song, and it goes like this. I am very in favor of affordable housing.
Just
we need
not
more of it in this
here.
community. However, I have some concerns about this project.
We have the hearts to do this, but we're doing it wrong, and we're dictating and harm onto the neighborhoods.
What?
And then off we go with the concerns, and then nothing ever gets built.
This is happening all over California. And the result is that
Sound familiar? Sound familiar? President Joe Manchin has some very, very thoughtful concerns about giving people paid sick leave. Can't do it. Sorry.
these neighborhoods are so expensive that they keep anyone out who isn't a part of this small group of super rich residents, many of whom bought their properties decades ago, and who spend their time fighting vigorously to keep the value of their real estate assets super high.
If you want to keep Palo Alto the kind of neighborhood and community that we all treasure, low intensity, low density, safe for kids to walk to school, you've got to vote against Measure D.
Yikes. Yikes. Oof. That's gonna be a giga yikes for me. That's gonna be a giga yikes for me.
An aspect of sort of greed here and of nervousness about actually sharing those opportunities.
Let's go to another liberal bastion up here in Washington state. The Democratic Party talks about taxation, saying that
Concern means I'm against it. Concern means I understand the problems, but I don't want to do anything about it. What a doc. Yeah, it's not a very subtle one at that. Granted, that was an older video, it seemed, but whew, yikes. That's a mega yikes for me.
That our tax code has been, quote, rigged against the American people. Democrats all the time are decrying the fact that tax cuts are going to the wealthiest Americans.
It is time for a wealth tax in America.
Democrats believe in a progressive tax system where
True.
the rich pay a larger share of their income than the poor. This is like the most basic policy vision of like a progressive movement. It's front and center in Democrats' policy platform.
But if you go and look at Washington state, what you find is that in Washington state, if you look at the state and local taxes that people pay there, less affluent families pay a much larger share of their income in taxes than the wealthiest residents of Washington state.
No way.
People like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, two of the state's most famous and wealthy residents, are in this lovely situation of paying less in taxes as a share of their income than the poor people who live in that same state. And this is a fundamental inversion of the values that the Democratic Party professes. There's no state with a more regressive system of taxation than Washington state.
And I'm talking like the most regressive, meaning Texas, which is like the conservative bastion of like anti-taxes, is more progressive than Washington state, liberal Washington state. How is that real? Oh, and guess what? Other states on our map also are in the top 10 of most regressive tax regimes, like Nevada and Illinois.
There have been some changes, particularly in recent years, but the overall situation...
Wait, really? Oh, now it all makes sense. JTorn 420, Heat 420. Now it makes sense. Well, welcome. See, I'm gonna tell you like Wu told me, cash rules everything around me. That's right. That's right. For the false promises that it is, you too can be very rich, to step over everyone around, and you win. Work harder. That's right. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You've got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and make sure that you work harder than everybody else. And then you too can be like Jeff Bezos. And sorry, hold on. Sorry. You also have to be born into a wealthy family, make sure that your parents support you, and make sure that they give you a $300 and something thousand injection to your business that would have died otherwise. Yeah, just make sure you have that sprinkled on top. But yeah, just you can also just work extremely hard. Or you can work very, very hard and spend countless hours working, and also with a little sprinkle of the fact that your family owned a incredibly successful emerald mine in apartheid South Africa. Forgot that little detail. Sorry. Anyways, you too can be a rich billionaire. Everybody can. We're all just temporarily embarrassed billionaires. That's it. Folks, anytime you're given a bootstrap argument, remember that the phrase was originally coined to imply that attempting something to imply attempting something impossible. Right. Hey, Bread Crochet, how's it going? Of course. Yeah, it's a lovely all-encompassing meme for these folks. Because obviously the whole premise of it is that it's impossible. But yet they use it. Which is incredibly ironic. I'm a billionaire in no man's sky. Yeah. We're all just temporarily embarrassed billionaires. That's all. We'll get there. Don't worry.
Remains resistant to change.
So I'm very concerned that at this time, which is a very poor time to disincent people from creating jobs in Washington State, that we're even considering it.
From that paycheck that you earn, more of that money is going to state government. And so the effect of that is basically to exacerbate inequality.
Okay, so rich liberals don't show up when it comes to housing or taxes. Another major theme in this policy document is education. And the wording in here I find quite interesting. The Democrats say, quote, "We must provide world-class education in every zip code to every child because education is a critical public good." They use this word zip code to represent the fact that in America, schools get their funding based on the real estate taxes of the houses within that school district. The more expensive the neighborhood, the more funding goes to the school. So over here in Illinois, which is like the quintessential liberal state, there's this one county that contains the city of Chicago. It's called Cook County. The residents here voted overwhelmingly for Democratic candidates in the presidential and senatorial elections last year. Often what would happen is that this would just be one big school district and that all the taxes from all the towns in this county would be put into one bucket and distributed equally throughout the county. But the residents of this very blue Democratic county have actually decided to divide themselves into more than 140 school districts. So now you have all these tiny school districts like this one, which are like gerrymandered around the richest part of town. And so all of the taxes from these rich homeowners go into one little bucket and then only get distributed to the schools within this rich region of the county.
It can be on the same block that the town line runs through the middle of it. And if you live on one side of that line, you're consigned to an inferior education by virtue of the fact that you and your neighbors don't have as much money. And if you live on the other side, you're basically a member of a club that is sponsoring a private school, essentially, for the benefit of that small group of kids who are lucky enough to live in that affluent community. And the result is that poor communities have less money to educate their children, and rich communities have more money to educate their children. This is crazy. It means basically that the kids who have the greatest needs have the fewest resources.
The same thing is happening in wealthy, liberal Connecticut, where the inequality in education opportunities is shameful, with some schools having huge budgets for their libraries and facilities, and others in the same state having to use duct tape to
Once
keep
the metaverse is reality, I'll be the new Bezos.
Windows.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Hey, Silver Knight Dragon. Welcome. How's it going? I'm a constantly embarrassed broke ass. Broke ass. Yeah, I mean, don't worry, Bread Crochets. I promise that if you I promise that one day it will trickle down. Okay. I promise that one day it will trickle down. Don't worry. Calvinism states that I'm destined to be a gajillionaire. A gillionaire?
Help in establishing guidelines, procedures, and funding to address issues negatively impacting our students like extreme temperatures, mold, lead exposure, and poor water and air quality.
So yeah, Binya tells me that the states could change this. They could actually just collect all the real estate taxes and then equally distribute them. But if you look at some of our liberal strongholds, That is exactly what they are not doing. Let me be clear about something. In blue states, progress is being made, albeit slowly. For instance, a few weeks ago, California finally passed a law that gets rid of single-family zoning. It's a small step in the right direction, and in many cases, blue states provide more and better public services, and historically have given better chances to low-income families to climb the economic ladder. But for some of these foundational democratic values of housing equality, progressive taxation, and education equality, Democrats don't actually embody their values very well.
We're talking, once again, about a system that's been rigged.
Republicans today are to blame.
What we're talking about here is that blue states are the problem. Blue states are where the housing crisis is located. Blue states are where the disparities in education funding are the most dramatic. Blue states are the places where tens of thousands of homeless people are living on the streets. Blue states are the places where economic inequality is increasing most quickly in this country. This is not a problem of not doing well enough. It is a situation where the blue states are the problem.
Affluent liberals tend to be really good at showing up to the marches and talking about how they love equality. They're really good at putting signs in their lawns saying that all are welcome here. But by their actions, what they're actually saying is, yes, we believe in these ideals, just not in my backyard.
We are not living our values.
Right, that's what exactly what I said.
People who profess liberal values, you need to look in the mirror and need to understand that they are not taking the actions that are consistent with those values, not just incidentally, not just in small areas, but that some of the most important policy choices. We are denying people the opportunity to prosper and to thrive and to build better lives, and it is happening in places where Democrats control the levers of policy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I also like to remind people that giving a leg up is actually physically possible, and that's a more rational metaphor. Yeah, but they won't use that because that's not their thing. Gotta go, take care, fam. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate that. It's almost like liberalism is a failure. Society and community should provide a leg up. Yeah, I agree with the... yeah, I agree with that. Alright. So yeah, that being said, again, I'm not going to take away the small W's that have been produced, but I'm also just... I'm also not gonna, like, let them just get a free pass for their inactions, right? Pretty sure the property tax codes, tax choices in my area are public or Catholic schools for the county, and the schools still need to heavily fundraise. Jeez. Yeah, the way the school system is funded is just beyond effed. It's just beyond effed. During a testimony in a custody case last week, Laurie Snell said her estranged husband tried to choke me out on a couch and I literally had to bite him. And said he called her a whore and told her to go get an abortion. I mean, it's kind of her choice. Parnell testified on Monday that her comments were complete fabrications and flat-out lies, saying that he never strangled her or got physical. Let me emphatically state I have never raised a hand in anger towards my wife or any of our 3 children. What happened today in court was not justice, nor did it have any basis in fact or truth. Okay. The judge hearing the case said Tuesday he would issue a written opinion after he comes to his decision, but did not offer a timetable as to when that might happen. Senator Rick Scott, who oversees the Republican Senate campaign arm, declined to say whether the Trump-endorsed candidate was right for the job, considering the allegations. Scott is formally staying neutral in the Senate primaries. We'll see who comes out on top. We'll see who comes out of the primary, he said in an interview with CNN. Fact will come out. We'll find out exactly what people think. I think what ultimately happens is people are going to look at somebody's background and say that they're the type of person they want, and also are they talking about the issues that I care about. Yeah, so basically what he's saying is, this guy's in trouble. More Republican candidates could still enter the race, and on Tuesday a report circulated of one potential wildcard, Dr. Oz? Wait, Dr. Oz? Okay. Who rose to prominence via guest appearance on Oprah Winfrey's show before getting his own series. The Washington Free Beacon, a conservative outlet, reported that Oz had begun hiring staff and reaching out to potential allies. Oz has been criticized for promoting junk science on his show. A spokesperson told the Free Beacon that since last year, Dr. Oz has lived and voted in Pennsylvania, where he attended school and has deep family ties. Dr. Oz has received encouragement to run for the U.S. Senate, but is currently focused on our show and has no announcement at this time. Anyways, the TLDR of this article is Pennsylvania. Pay attention. This is an important race. And this race could be an avenue pretty sure that... Oh, wait, who's a cop? This guy? Parnas? Parnell? Oh. He was a Army Ranger combat infantryman. I don't know if he did law enforcement though. Anyways, Pennsylvania Senate race is incredibly important. This is a great opportunity for a more progressive type senator to possibly win, especially since the kind of more conservative Dem isn't looking as strong. This guy right here, Fetterman. This guy right here, Fetterman, has a chance, and I think that is a good and I think that's a good opportunity. So this is something to pay attention to, folks, especially if you live in Pennsylvania. Pay attention to this one, because this might be a good opportunity. This might be a good opportunity. The World Police. Right, he didn't serve, I don't know how many tours, but he definitely served in the Middle East. Okay, that was weird. Yeah, TLDR, folks, pay attention to this race. This is important and a good opportunity to get a more progressive-leaning senator, which is hard to come by. Hard to come by. Alright, folks. Really quickly before I get Giga triggered, I need to get up because I have been very bad at maintaining my strict once in stream ad break. I need to maintain that so I can get up and walk around at least a little bit around the room. Give me one moment, folks. Stay tuned. Stay right here. I will be right back. Oh, and before I do so, folks, I guess I should take a second to shell for myself. Folks, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to smack that follow button. It's right there. It's right there. Just hit the follow button. If you're watching on, if you're on the YouTubes, smack that subscribe button. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It's a really great way to support the channel. And of course, my call to action to everybody here, is to spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. We're here Monday through Thursday in the AMs, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.-ish. And join us for Saturdays. Saturday Catterdays around noon Eastern time. You get to see kitty cats. How does that sound? I'll be right back. Yeah, Giga triggered. Maybe make a channel point reward for physical activity so we can encourage your good health. True. Carlos Charlos. Where is everybody? Right here. Yeah, I need to make that channel point, Silver Knight Dragon. I've been meaning to do that. Alright, folks. Here we go. GOP billionaire Ken Langone. Langone? I don't know. Langone. His name is Langone to me. Ken Langone. Linguini. Yeah, there we go. I have so many points I could make you dab nearly infinity. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I limited it to 10, because I know that if I just don't put a limit on it, I'll be literally doing dabs for 2 hours. I'll be doing like dabs for 2 hours, and that will be the stream. The stream will basically me just like this. And that's it. For 2 weeks straight, yeah. Until everyone runs out of points. Yeah, I'll just be a living dab statue, exactly. Republican billionaire Ken Langone said he will hold a fundraiser for President Manchin. Nice! Very nice. Cool. Republican billionaire Ken Langone says he plans to host a fundraiser for Senator Joe Manchin after thank you, finally, conservative West Virginia Democrat blocked key elements of President Biden's agenda. The comments came as Democrats in Congress continue to hash out major parts of Biden's economic agenda, namely social safety net spending and plans to battle climate change, which have yet to manifest themselves. Langone, in an interview Wednesday on CNBC's Squawk Box, praised Manchin for his guts and courage and explained that he was set to raise money for him. Manchin is up for re-election in 2024. I don't see any leadership any place in this country. Thank God for President Joe Manchin. Interesting. Yeah, that was a long dab. I'm going to have one of the biggest fundraisers I've ever had for him. Nice! So maybe he wasn't the first time this guy has fundraised for Joe Manchin. Interesting, huh? He's special. Oh, I bet he is. He's precious. He's a great American. Langone has never contributed... Wait. Then why did he say he's ever had? That the implication being that he's fundraised him for before. Okay. Langone has never contributed to one of Manchin's campaigns. Oh, well, I mean... Okay. According to this nonpartisan Center for Responsive Politics, Manchin's office did not return a request for comments on Langone's statement after publication of this story. Manchin tweeted out a long statement on Wednesday's inflation report that echoed what Langone has said on CNBC. Quote, this is President Manchin's statement. By all accounts, the threat posed by record inflation to the American people is not transitory and instead getting worse from the grocery store to the gas pump. Americans know inflation tax is real and DC can no longer ignore the economic pains Americans feel every day. Okay. Now explain to me how investing in things that will come back in a return on investment will increase inflation, and explain it to me like I have no idea. Explain it to me like a child. Now explain to me how economic investments that have massive return on investment and necessary, not optional, necessary, and explain to me like I'm 5 how that is in any way, shape, or form going to increase inflation. This is just like the traditional, like, conservative trope. Manchin, who has made millions from the coal industry, has opposed certain parts of Biden's $1.8 trillion social spending plan, including clean energy provisions. He has also opposed raising corporate taxes above 25% and proposed a tax that would a proposed tax that would target billionaires. Right, of course, and here comes the billionaire getting his return. Here comes the billionaire saying, "Yeah, it's exactly what we need. We need people like him. This guy's got guts." Why don't you tweet at him and ask? Yeah, I'm sure he'll respond. The Social Safety Net and Climate Plan, known as the Build Back Never Act, would expand Medicaid and Medicare, pay for universal pre-K. Well, I think that's out. Dedicated. Oh no, wait. It's the 2 years of community college that's out. Dedicates $550 billion to initiatives intended on fighting climate change. I do not know what that means. The House is expected to vote on the legislation this month, but the measure, already the product of several months of negotiations, will likely change some more before the Senate takes it up. Democrats have a narrow edge in the 50-50 Senate due to Vice President Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote, so they can't afford to lose Manchin's vote. But on the same token, with conservative Dems like Manchin, I mean, who needs Republicans, right? Langone is the latest billionaire executive to come out in support of Manchin. Nelson Peltz, who founded the investment firm Trian Partners, told CNBC in October that he talks to Manchin every week. Nice! Wow! And supports how he's handling his work on Capitol Hill. I bet. Langone and Peltz both supported President Trump. Langone told CNBC in 2016 he would back Trump's initial candidacy for the White House, but that he was done with political fundraising. After he later endorsed Trump's economic policies, including tariffs on Chinese goods, Langone took aim at the former president after the deadly Capitol riot on January 6. Okay. Beyond Langone, Peltz, Manchin has already seen a wave of campaign contributions from corporate America as he fights his own party. Amazing. In the third quarter, Manchin's political operation received a corporate donation from JP Morgan. Nice. Duke Energy. Nice. Southern Nuclear Operation, UBS America, PG&E. Nice. Manchin's re-election committee finished the third quarter raising more than $1.5 million. Cool. Thank you for the 10 biddies, Alio. I appreciate that. I see you. The billionaire is just lending his name to the fundraiser, not necessarily contributing to it. Oh yeah, that's a good point. But the TLDR of this is that Manchin is getting his billionaire bona fides in line. Apparently he's doing an amazing job for them. So much so that they're singing his praises. So much so that they're just singing his praises. And this is why I get frustrated. And this is why I get frustrated. In a surprise move, US and China vow to work together on climate change. Let's see. US and China pledged Wednesday to work closely together on climate change in this decade in a rare and unexpected joint statement that brought fresh energy to the final days of the UN Climate Summit in Scotland. The world's two biggest economies declared their intention to work individually, jointly, and with other countries during this decisive decade, in accordance with different national circumstances, to strengthen and accelerate climate action and cooperation. The U.S. climate envoy, John Kerry, and Chinese counterpart Xi Shenhua, I'm not going to pretend I know that pronunciation, brokered an agreement which they touted in separate news conferences. Kerry said on Twitter that the deal is a step in the right direction, a mark of progress, and a solid foundation for continued cooperation in climate between our two countries. The countries say they will work together on deforestation, hold a bilateral meeting next year about methane, a potent greenhouse gas far more powerful than carbon dioxide at trapping heat in the atmosphere. The joint statement, which otherwise light on details, great, mostly affirmed earlier goals such as ending overseas coal financing, preserving the 2015 Paris Agreement target of limiting global temperatures to a rise of 2 degrees Celsius, but the pledge nonetheless gave a jolt of momentum to the summit by showing that the world's biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, China, was still involved. It is China's biggest move so far at the conference, where Beijing officials have not had a major presence, and President Xi Jinping did not show up. China was facing a major political blowback for largely shrugging off COP26 in Scotland, which scientists have called the last best chance to avert the worst of global warming. Well, yes, but no. Yes, but no. Because, well, it is true that it's basically one of the final kind of pivotal moments. A lot of these things are just open promises, empty promises, and as we'll see next, promises that don't even do what they're supposed to be doing. The fact that China's trying to assert understandably a new role as a world leader is not showing up. Come on, man. Kerry said in a recent interview, Biden said, just to be clear, said in a recent interview in Glasgow, it said it would be better for Xi to have attended the summit, but it said that he had been having productive conversation with lower level Chinese officials. At this point, like, literally irrelevant. At this point, it's literally irrelevant. If Xi Jinping would have not showed up, I mean, like, for all intents and purposes, this was all like a charade. The door is not shut at this point in time, Kerry said, of cooperation with China, and I really think what's critical is to be summoning everybody's willpower to step further to do more than they thought was possible. Okay, that is true. But, if you're going to sit on the world stage and make this statement, you've got to be sure. That you're walking the walk, basically. If you're going to get up on the world stage and say this, and I really think what's critical is to be summoning everybody's willpower to step further to do more than they thought was possible. Yes, excellent. Except, you can't sit on the world stage and say that while we have done nothing. While we sit here and have done nothing. China's doing way more to reduce emissions. I can say that they're doing certain steps that we are not. But I can also say that they are also opening up new coal mines and things like that. So it's a mixed bag. We can say that they are the biggest manufacturer of solar, for sure, which is more than we can say for ourselves. The absence of several top-level officials from the world's largest polluter had cast a shadow of pessimism over the conference in Glasgow. Wednesday's pledge with the US, the second largest polluter, appeared aimed at reassuring other participants that the two countries whose actions will determine the success or failure of climate efforts were more aligned than not. Yeah, except if the Chinese delegation had shown up. again, all of this is just a charade. I'm sorry, it's just a charade. Still, China did not sign the global methane pledge. The US and EU brokered in Glasgow to reduce emissions of the potent greenhouse gas by 30% by the end of the decade. Yeah, but we signed a pledge, but here's the thing. Are we actually going to do it? That is true, Chai Bureaucrat. That is true. That is very true. They have to sustain all the production so that we can buy shit the next day. Yeah. Like, I completely agree. I'm not disputing that fact. They canceled worldwide coal plants, no? I think that they're making moves about future financing of coal plants, so I believe that's what that is, yes. If I'm correct. Hey, Darknet, how's it going? Okay, so China also disappointed climate hawks by declining to increase its target to reduce emissions. Beijing aims to be carbon neutral by 2060, a decade after the US goal. Environmental groups in the US praised the joint declaration while cautioning that the real test will be whether written commitments translate into action. Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. That's my point. The real test whether any of these commitments, whether it be by China, the US, the EU, whoever, will be whether or not they actually put any action behind it. Unfortunately, the things that we can control are here because, well, at least for me personally, I live in the US, so these are things that I'm able to kind of speak on. I'm not too confident. John Podesta, the chair of the left-leaning Center for... Ooh, no. Nice meme. Center for American Progress in a statement, our future looks brighter today. What, because you guys, like, got out there and said some words? China has more than 1,200 major coal plants in operation and has planned to build some 150 more. According to GEM, which tracks fossil fuel infrastructure and financing around the world in 2019 alone, China opened 102 mines. GM chose, yeah, but they're ending future builds. Exactly, that's what I thought. Exactly. They could be using coal to make solar panels. Yes, among other things. But again, you could argue that the fact that they're even stopping as a full stop, no more production of future coal mines is more than we can say for ourselves, I guess. I don't know. And again, they aren't even the biggest global emission leader. That's our military. Well, I think you can put all of these. You could make that statement true with the caveat of saying that the reason why they have all of these emissions is because American companies are the ones that are over there. You can make that argument. But the reality is, as a raw data, as a raw, like, numbers, they are number one besides us. Just on the raw numbers, if I'm correct. Because there's a reason why these folks cited these datas. Didn't Biden open the Gulf for more oil during the COP26? I think that he has expanded or has shown that he's open to expanding offshore drilling, I believe. China's number one total emissions, not per capita emission. Right. Okay, so exactly, like I meant like raw, like just raw numbers. I think they are number one. Per capita, I think we are. Is that not the case? I think per capita we are, right? By far. And I think our military, to your point, our military, I think, is like if the military was on its own if the military was its own country, I believe they would be high up on that scale. China's per capita emissions are about half, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I think per capita we take the cake. But I think like raw emissions, I think they're number one. Data is funny. Again, numbers don't lie, but I can make them say what I want. We just have to be clear in our delivery and set numbers. Yeah, if China was a per capita leader, we'd be effed. True. The pledge to strengthen cooperation to clean energy, methane, and deforestation from the two largest economies' greenhouse gas emitters is a welcome step forward, BAPNA said in a statement. President Manish Bapna, president of the Natural Resource Defense Council, said the joint declaration was good news. But if we are to hold global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, we urgently need to see commitments to cooperate translate into border climate targets and credible delivery. Which therein lies the problem, right? Howdy. Howdy, howdy. If you look at total emissions throughout history, the US is number one. Nice! So all of this is beautiful and dandy. Here's the problem. Glasgow conference set to fall short of goal to avert catastrophic climate change. The UN Climate Change Conference has resulted in a cascade of new pledges from nations large and small to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions, but they still fall short of the goal of keeping global temperatures below 1.5 degrees, according to an updated analysis released Tuesday afternoon. The Climate Action Tracker, an independent scientific analysis, studied every nation's plan to reduce greenhouse gas pollution and found that the world is on course between 1.7 to 2.6. Nice meme! Nice meme, everybody. But hey, we said some cool stuff. And we signed some papers, I guess? And we had, like, photo ops? I guess? So there's that. Yay. Ooh. Cool. The UN's IPCC has warned that in order to avoid catastrophic effects of climate change, temperature rise needs to be kept below 1.5. By 2100, as estimated by the CAT, a collaboration between the research organizations Climate Analytics and the New Climate Institute, warming will reach 2.1 degrees Celsius, an amount warming that the IPCC has said will lead to devastating weather events and unleash feedback loops such as the thawing of permafrost. It is clear that there's a massive credibility, action, and commitment gap that casts a long dark shadow of doubt over the national pledges, the CAT report states. This latest figure, however, is an improvement on the trajectory coming out of the Paris Conference in 2015, in which pledges would have led to an estimated 2.7 degrees Celsius of warming by 2100. But it is still short of where climate scientists had hoped to be at the conclusion of Glasgow conference known as COP26, which is due to end Friday evening. The CAT report stands in contrast to a separate estimate issued Thursday by the International Energy Agency, projecting that the actions promised in Glasgow would limit warming to 1.8 degrees Celsius. The reason for the discrepancy is that some national pledges are lacking sufficient detail to convince some experts that they're really going to be achieved. In other words, we did a great job, great photo op, Great job, everybody. And of course, we get to go home and do nothing. But hey, we got some positive press, positive PR. At this point, it's not so much the emissions, it's the reduction and destruction of all carbon sinks in the world, permafrost, old growth forests, peat bogs, and the ocean, which is massive. The ocean, in particular, is crucial. That honest trailer about the government, climate change was good, and graph was especially good. Yes, we're actually, let me run through this, and then we'll play that as our outro, I think. That's pretty much, oh, actually, you're right. We should play that. I meant to play that the other day, but I kept forgetting. Here, let's go to the Discord, because Darknet posted that one. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Perfect. The reason for the discrepancy is that some national pledges are lacking insufficient detail to convince some experts that they're really going to be achieved, while the US and China put out thorough projections of how they hope to reach net zero by 2050 and 2060, respectively. Not every nation has been so detailed. Nice meme. For instance, India came forward last week with its first ever emission reduction commitment, saying it would reach net zero by 2070, but it has yet to fill in the details on how and whether that pledge will apply to all greenhouse gases or just CO2. As a result, Climate Action Tracker discounted India's pledge and those of other foot trackers such as Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. Right, I mean, like, these people, especially like Saudi Arabia and OPEC, how do we expect them to reach any goal? The ocean is not as wonderful as it acidifies and kills coral reefs. Yes, among other things, Astro. Among other things. It's almost like rich nations should help. Yeah, no kidding. It's also noteworthy. It's also worth noting that the world is not actually assured to reach 2.1 degrees Celsius, much less 1.8. Even fleshed out promises of action tend to be backloaded, and current policies lag even further behind. In fact, based on policies that are currently in place, Climate Action Tracker projects 2 to 3.6 degree warming by 2100. Nice. Which is the most likely outcome being around 2.7. That's almost a full degree lower than the 3.6 of warming that the group projected after Paris based on policies in place at that time, but it's also well above the 1.5 target of warming. No single country that we analyze has sufficient short-term policies that can put in place itself on track to its net zero target. The US, which is currently the second largest emitter after China, historically the biggest by far, is a good example of why. President Biden has pledged to reduce emissions by at least 50% from 2005 levels by 2030, but the Senate hasn't passed his Build Back Better proposal. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why. Huh. Anyways, which might have put the US on path to achieving that. Other policies necessary to fulfill Biden's promises, such as new rules to limit methane emissions, haven't yet been instituted and may not survive judicial review. Nice meme. In general, countries have made bolder pledges of major emission cuts for decades from now, with much more modest actions in the near future. A UN analysis in September estimated that emissions will rise 16% by 2030, while the IPCC finds they need to go down 45% in that time frame. Jesus Christ. Cool. Yeah, nice meme. In order to underscore the necessity of more immediate action, CAT also did a projection of what would happen if the only pledges that are met are those that would occur before 2030. This is the critical decade that we're in. Claire Fison, co-head of the climate policy team at Climate Analytics, told Yahoo News, if we don't have emissions from now until 2030, we really start putting the 1.5 out of reach. Yep, in recognition of precisely this problem, the US climate envoy, John Kerry, announced on Wednesday that evening that the US will have reached joint agreement with China, blah, 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 blah. Yes, the new pledges are also not included in the report's estimate, but China hasn't actually yet to come up with a plan to achieve either of those goals. It's just announced as its intention to. Right, so again, a lot of cope. A lot of cope. Anyways, as we close, here's the accurate ending to the Glasgow COP26.
Hello, I'm from the government with an update on how we're handling the climate crisis. We know you're all counting on us to solve this problem so humanity can keep enjoying its favorite pastime, continuing to live on this planet. But you see, we've realized that we are the problem. And so, how shall we put this? We're actually going to get us all killed. Look at this graph shaped like a penis because it shows how fucked we are. This is where we are now. And as we can see, it's already pretty fucked with massive fires, floods, heat waves, locusts, bullshit. This is what scientists call the stop here or we're fucked point. And this is where we're currently headed. Or as scientists call it, net fucked by 2050. The good news is we've promised to reduce our emissions. emissions. And if you take all our promises and add them together, that puts us on track for still very much fucked by 2050. And that's if we keep our promises. A big if, since some of our biggest promises are being coke-blocked by corporate cold shills, while others are nothing more than blah blah blah, or a plan printed on a pamphlet. Pamphlet? Our promises and pamphlets are also based on the hope that we'll offset our emissions with technologies which don't work or even fucking exist. Or with technologies that do work and exist, like trees. Except trees need time to grow, which we don't have. And space, which we also don't have. Plus, trees can burn, which seems to happen a lot these days due to climate change. And when they do, they release all that carbon they captured. Which means the only way we can keep our promises is to stop emitting carbon. Are we doing that? God, no. We've been subsidizing it at a rate of $11 million per minute, which discourages investment in renewables by distorting the market. And that's why there's a huge gap between our promises and where we need to be. We don't talk about that gap because that would entail a complex process called being honest.
True.
Being honest would mean admitting that we're failing. And we can't do that because then we'd have to stop failing. That would mean ending fossil fuel subsidies and banning all new gas, coal and oil projects. And to anyone suggesting harming our precious children like that, we say, how dare you? So being honest isn't an option for us, which is why we've come up with the next best alternative. Net zero by 2050. Net zero by 2050 means that instead of being honest this decade by taking this path, we leave the being honest part to the last minute by taking that path instead. As you can see, both lead to net zero in 2050, but they're very different journeys, cause this path adds this many emissions to the atmosphere, and that one adds 3 times as much. And since emissions are what's causing the planet to warm, that means crossing the stop here or we're fucked point, which risks setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond our control. That's the exciting part of running an experiment with the only planet we know that supports life in the whole fucking universe, just so we can make a few billionaires even richer. Net zero by 2050. Anywho, feel free to take over from us at any time, cause as you can see, we're captured by the fossil fuel industry, compromised by our moral failings and lack of vision, and probably going to get us all killed. This has been a message from your local government franchise. Goodbye.
Authorized by the Department for blah blah blah.
True. Yeah, I think it's a, I don't know if it's an AI generated voice, because they're so good now, the generated AI voices. But anyways, yeah, hey Eric, how's it going? Anyways, folks, I think that's a perfect way to, resubscribing. Eric, thank you so much. I'm trying to make me think it's, Friday. Hey, I gotcha, didn't I? I gotcha, didn't I? Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate that. On a 5-month streak. That voice was not real for sure. Yeah, their AI voices are getting really good nowadays. Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to kind of deliver the point of just where we're heading, and just the, I guess, hypocrisies of the governments around, including ours. So yeah, that's just the way it is. Alright folks, as always, I do appreciate all of your guys being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone here. And yeah, the sardonic truth. And I appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you, Alio, for the biddies. Thank you all for the new follows. I appreciate that. Thank you, Darknet. Thank you, Spread It Forward. Please make sure, on your way out, to hit that, to hit that follow button. And join us on the YouTubes. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that awesome stuff. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Hey, Eric, that's okay. Just join us on the wave raid. Join the raid wave with the voiceovers. Oh, cool. Nice. Thank you, Kala. I probably should have paid attention to that. I missed the show. That's okay. Just join us here. Thank you, Darknet. Join the Discord as always. Stay safe. Take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. I could probably do that voice too. Net zero by 2050. If everybody could just strap in, we are going to raid. I see Idan Simpson. Let's go to Idan Simpson's channel. Everybody, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.